Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder. Today we're diving into VistaGen Therapeutics annual report. If you think decoding corporate speak is tough, try being a therapist for stocks. This report has everything from nose to brain technology. With a name so futuristic it could star in a sci-fi movie to financial statements that make your eyes cross, VistaGen is all in on new ways to treat disorders. But let's see if their books are as promising as their molecule structures. First, a quick summary. VistaGen is betting big on something called pherines, delivered through the nose, to treat brain disorders. They've got a lead drug, fasedienol, aimed at social anxiety disorder, and they just wrapped up a year of spending a lot of money to get these drugs closer to market. Before we start, if you appreciate getting straight insights from corporate documents, make sure you're subscribed. It helps us make more of these videos. We also have a Discord community linked in the description below. Come check it out. Alright, let's dive into the real meat of the report. The numbers? Let's scroll down to take a look at the good stuff on their most recent balance sheet. Starting with cash and cash equivalents. They're sitting on 67.1 million, which sounds like a lot, until you remember how much it costs to run clinical trials. Now let's glance at the income statement, which summarizes how VistaGen is operating and investing in the business. Okay, they booked total revenues of $486,000 and a net loss of $51.4 million. So they lost over 100 times what they brought in. Not great, but that's pretty normal for a biotech that doesn't have an approved drug yet. Research and development and testing are pricey. Their weighted average common shares outstanding number is at 30.8 million. This figure shows the quantity of shares on which the company calculates its profits or losses, influencing key metrics such as earnings per share. Here's something that probably makes leadership sweat. They actually say there is uncertainty about whether our combined cash equivalents, and marketable securities will be sufficient to fund operations. They have their doubts about being able to keep things running. They need more cash and soon to fully execute their plans. Shifting away from the numbers, here's something interesting. They had an exclusive negotiation agreement with Fuji Pharma about their PH80 product. As consideration for this, VistaGen got $1.5 million from Fuji Pharma, which is a non-refundable deal. Non-refundable as long as VistaGen doesn't mess up the deal. This kind of deal can be a great way for smaller companies to get big pharma involved. The downside is it's a long period of exclusivity and there's no guarantee of a final agreement. They're also trying to build up their intellectual property by filing patents for different treatments. Patent protection from is obviously key, but getting them doesn't guarantee success. Now let's talk about the ugly stuff. They are also subject to certain US and foreign anti-corruption, anti-money laundering, export control, sanctions and other trade laws and regulations. Yikes. This means VistaGen walks a thin line every time they deal with foreign entities, because they have to be extremely careful of bribery and corruption. And there's more government scrutiny of how drug companies and healthcare providers interact is a real headache, with potential jail times for violations of these laws. Finally, a critical section, let's check out the risks as companies have to tell the SEC and their investors. One big risk is regarding the non-clinical or clinical trials for their product candidates could result in increased cost to us and could delay making any money, which is obviously not good. Here's a big problem. Issues in the FDA and other government agencies and regulatory approval makes it difficult to estimate expenses, which they also mention as a major risk. This essentially means it's hard to know how far they can get with the money they have. Alright, that's our breakdown of VistaGen's latest filing. On the surface, a lot hasn't changed. They have very promising treatments, a high burn rate, and they are very dependent on future funding to see this trough. Let's go over my thoughts real quick. Here is what impresses me. They are clearly attacking major markets like social anxiety, depression, with new treatment methods which differentiates them in the eyes of regulators. And here are the weaknesses. The risks in the report are all about money, or a lack of it. If VistaGen can't secure funding, all the cool science in the world won't matter. It will also be interesting to watch how the Fuji deal turns out, because that will add to VistaGen's legitimacy from the broader capital market, as well as bring in more money. Alright, that's our breakdown of VistaGen's latest filing. What's your take on these numbers and what they signal for the company's future? Drop your thoughts and opinions in the comments. If this analysis was valuable, hitting that like button really helps. And subscribe for more deep dives into stocks and financial news. Don't forget to check out the Discord in the description. Thanks for watching. See you next time.